Okay, today's craft, this is Jan. Today's craft quickie is, we're on the raggedy edge here. When you cut paper, I buy paper, all kinds of different pads of paper, all kinds of different textures of paper. This particular paper I bought in a stack of multicolored papers. It's an off-white, real soft paper, real heavy in the rag. Kind of like a newsprint, only softer. And then this is more of a cardstock. And I've cut these with this Fiskars cutter. There's nothing wrong with my cutter. My blades are sharp. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this cutter at all. It's the paper that's the issue. Now, when you cut dark paper, a lot of times the paper is got a white center. And if you're placing this down on a dark paper or on a, say, a black paper, you're going to end up seeing that white edge. Now, this paper cut clean, no raggedy edges, but we've still got this white edge. It's not going to look good. So what I do, this is my favorite pen for this. It's a Staedtler Permanent Lumocolor Medium. It's real juicy. The ink is real juicy on it. So in order to make sure I have the correct edge when I'm using it, I make sure this big white UPC code is facing me. And the reason is because I've taken an X-Acto blade, X-Acto knife blade, or a craft blade, whichever one you want to call it. And having this edge facing me, I have sliced the nib in half, sliding my blade all the way to the plastic. Of course, be careful using a blade and always put it back up the second you're through with it. Because if you set it on your table without the cap on it and you do something and wipe your hand across the table, you're going to cut yourself. Very dangerous. I know you're an adult, but be cautious with this. Okay, so I've split my edge. I split my nib. And I'm going to correct the edge or fix the edge on this, making sure that this UPC is facing me. And the paper will find the groove. And you'll be able to darken the edge of the paper. Again, I said this is a really juicy pen, which means it puts out a lot of ink. Some of them, you're just not able to. Now, some people tell you to use the edge, and it works, but it skips. I prefer this method because it doesn't skip, and I don't slide off the papers easy. So now you have a dark-edged paper. Tip number one. Now, tip number two, to get rid of this raggedy edge that's on this paper. This is the top side, the side the die was on. The underside has actually all the ragged edge, and it will be the underside of how I cut it also. So this is it says Beauty Secret Superior Nail Products. No clue. Got it at Sally's Beauty Supply. It's 100 grit on both sides, which is real coarse grit. It's meant for those faint fingernails that they do, because it takes off a lot of surface quick. Be easy with this. You don't want to get down here and sand it like you're sanding a piece of wood, because again, the paper's high in a rag content, and it's not been pressurized as much as a cardstock. Cardstock's had a lot of pressure on it, so the surface is slick and it's rigid. This is a softer paper, so you're going to want to lightly take the raggedy edges off flat first. And you're probably not going to be able to tell with this camera, but the edges, all those little furry pieces are just about off. Then your last cleanup will be holding your file perpendicular to the paper and finishing off the edges. Now, you say, well, why don't you use a piece of sandpaper that's laying around the house? Because this is rigid and it gives you a great level surface to file this off. Now these edges, there's no more furry edges. They're smooth, and you go ahead and use your die cut perfectly with the edges that you had cut with your paper cutter that had become ragged. That's my tip for the day. Have great fun building your Halloween cards. A thumbs up. We appreciate it. And if nobody's told you they love you yet today, I do.